Why did the Roman Empire nearly leave Britain behind? The Roman Empire's decision to withdraw from Britain in the early 5th century AD was the result of a complex combination of political, economic, and military factors. Britain, once a valuable province, became increasingly difficult for the Romans to defend and govern as internal and external pressures mounted across the empire. Constant barbarian threats. One of the main reasons the Romans nearly abandoned Britain was the constant threat from barbarian invasions. For centuries, the Romans fought off attacks from various tribes, including the Picts, Scots, and Saxons. These tribes posed significant challenges to Roman control, frequently raiding and disrupting life in the province. The Hadrian's Wall, built in the early 2nd century AD, symbolized the empire's struggle to keep these forces at bay. But over time, maintaining such a vast and hostile frontier became increasingly unsustainable. As the Western Roman Empire weakened, the need to prioritize defenses closer to the heart of the empire became paramount. Troops were gradually withdrawn from Britain to protect more vulnerable territories, leaving the province more exposed to these persistent barbarian threats. Economic drain. Britain, while resource-rich in minerals and agricultural production, became an economic drain for the Romans as the empire's economy declined. The cost of defending and administering the distant island outstripped the profits it generated. Maintaining the army, infrastructure, and bureaucracy required in Britain placed a heavy financial burden on the Roman government. Furthermore, the empire faced severe inflation, a collapse in trade networks, and a declining tax base. Britain, far from the Mediterranean's lucrative trade routes, was increasingly seen as a remote and expensive territory to hold. The empire's financial difficulties meant that resources were redirected to more critical areas, hastening Britain's abandonment. Civil wars and internal struggles. During the late Roman Empire, civil wars and power struggles became more frequent. Usurpers and rival claimants to the imperial throne often sought to gain control of key provinces to bolster their legitimacy. Britain was no exception and experienced its fair share of these conflicts. Several Roman generals in Britain declared themselves emperors, seeking to carve out independent rule from the imperial power in Rome. These internal conflicts further destabilized Roman Britain as they diverted military resources and weakened central authority. The constant flux of loyalties and leadership created a volatile environment that was difficult to manage from a distance, making it easier for the Roman Empire to consider relinquishing control over Britain. The sack of Rome and the fall of the Western Empire. The sack of Rome by the Visigoths in AD 410 sent shockwaves throughout the empire and marked a critical turning point in the decline of Roman power. The event was symbolic of the empire's inability to protect even its most sacred and central city. This profound loss underscored the empire's weakening hold on its territories and signaled the urgency of consolidating and defending its core provinces. Britain, on the far periphery of the Roman world, was deemed less important in the context of defending Rome itself and other major parts of the empire. With limited military forces and growing instability, the Western Roman Empire began to prioritize survival over expansion, making the withdrawal from Britain an inevitable consequence of these larger geopolitical concerns. The rise of local leaders and independence. As Roman authority in Britain waned, local leaders and military commanders began to assert more independence. These leaders, some of whom had served in the Roman administration, took on the responsibilities of defense and governance in the absence of direct imperial control. Over time, Britain started to develop a more localized, self-sufficient rule, further eroding the influence of the Roman Empire. The withdrawal of Roman forces and the decline of central authority allowed these local rulers to carve out their own territories, which later contributed to the early formation of the kingdoms that would eventually evolve into medieval Britain. By the time Rome officially abandoned Britain in AD 410, much of the province had already been operating with minimal Roman oversight for several years. A calculated retreat. The Roman Empire's near abandonment of Britain was not a sudden decision, but the result of a gradual decline in resources, military strength, and central control. As the empire faced increasing pressures from all sides, barbarian invasions, economic struggles, internal power struggles, and the collapse of central authority, Britain became one of the many casualties of a faltering superpower. Ultimately, Rome chose to focus on preserving its core territories, leaving Britain to fend for itself as the empire retreated into history.